Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming this afternoon. We would like to this afternoon announce the measures that we're putting in place, as you know, regarding inflation mitigation that was announced in the budget, in the 2022-2023 budget, to shield the most vulnerable Fijians from the rapid price increases, which is driven by global price increases in food and other essential items. Due to the imported inflationary pressures, and of course now we're rolling these out. We'd like to make the announcements as to how one can access this, and indeed who will be the ones that will be paid out and what they need to do. There's about three categories of people that we'll be addressing in respect of their ability to access the 180. The government pensioners and aftercare beneficiaries will receive a direct additional top-up of $180 to their accounts on 31 August 2022, which is at the end of this month. This payment date is being aligned to their next pension payment date. Similarly, all social welfare recipients will also receive a direct additional top-up of $180 to their accounts on 5th September or 5 September 2022, aligned to their next welfare payment date. Approximately $18 million will be paid out to the 90,000 social welfare recipients and around 8,000 government pensioners and aftercare fund recipients. No applications are actually required for these groups of individuals because they're already on the system, the government pensioners, the aftercare fund recipients, and all those on social welfare. So they all get a top-up of 180. The first group on the 31st of August, which is government pension and aftercare beneficiaries. And the second group is social welfare recipients on 5 September, which is next month. The next group are all the registered tertiary students under the TELS, or the Tertiary Education Loan Scheme, and the Topper Scholarship will be also paid a lump sum payment of $180 on 5th of September, or 5 September, to their individual bank accounts. The Tertiary Scholarship and Loan Service will facilitate the payment on behalf of the Ministry of Economy. More than 13,000 TELS and Toppers recipients will be assisted with approximately $2.4 million. Again, these tertiary students and TELS and Toppers do not need to apply because they're already on the system. The tertiary institutions that actually are covered under this TSLS include the University of the South Pacific, Fijian Attorney-General, University of Fiji, Corpus Christi Teachers College, Fulton College, Sangam Institute, Pacific Flying School, and Advanced Aviation Training. There are also, we recognize, some tertiary students who are currently not receiving Toppers or TELS scholarship, or the Topper Scholarship. They can also apply. They need to apply online through the online inflation mitigation application system, https://assistance.digitalfiji.gov.fj. These students can only apply online and will be required to provide their personal details, mobile phone number, and evidence of active enrollment registration at one of the universities to be eligible, or the tertiary institution that I've just read out. Payment will be made through the M-Pesa or MyCash, depending on, of course, their mobile phone service provider. So that's that lot. So with tertiary students, all of them on TELS and Toppers currently enrolled, they'll get their payment on the 5th of September. No need to fill out application forms. All those who are in these institutions but are not on TELS or Toppers, there are some who are at university because they may be private students. Some may not have received TELS because they would have got less marks, but they're still at university. They can also apply. The third broad group is announced. Support will be provided as a per-child basis for families who earn less than $50,000 in combined annual household income. In total, families will receive $180 per child over a 6-month period, which again will be paid in a lump sum. Families with children in year 13 or below who currently receive subsidized transportation assistance, which is, we know, about a total of about 91,000 students, can fill out a simple manual form available at the schools that asks for the M-Pesa or MyCash account details to receive assistance. As these students already qualify for transportation assistance, there will be no need for additional income verification because their income levels for those households are already verified. So there's no need for verification process. They can simply fill out the form and is being made available. We have the Ministry of Education currently putting it on FEMIS as we speak. And the circulars are being issued to the schools and those forms will be available from tomorrow morning. The fastest way, of course, if you do want to apply, is to submit and process your application online through the inflation mitigation application system. Again, I've read that out already, which is now open for applications and will close on 30th of September 2022, which is about 1.5 months' time. Manual forms will be available at all schools from 15 August 2022, which is tomorrow. It can be filled out and submitted to the child's school. In the interest of timely deployment of funds, we strongly encourage families to apply online for assistance, and it's also easy for them to do so. $180 payments per child will be paid out to families as and when applications are received. Payments, however, will be made on specific dates. Payments will be made on 1 September 2022 for all applications processed before that date. Subsequent payments for later applications will be made on 15 September, 30th September, 14 October, and 31 October. In other words, fortnightly from the 1st of September. Families earning below $50,000 annually whose children do not currently receive transportation assistance can apply for inflation mitigation assistance through the Ministry of Education through the same manual application form available at schools or online through the inflation mitigation application system. You may appreciate the fact that, as you know, that this 180 is applicable for those families or household incomes that earn less than $50,000. To be eligible for the bus fare assistance, you need to have much lower levels of income. So there could be families, for example, who earn $40,000 a year. They don't get the bus fare assistance, but they are eligible for the 180. So there is a need for income verification, and the form actually caters for that. You can go online to provide verification, or we can do it through the schools also. The manual application form will gather details of parents and obtain phone numbers for payment. Students will need to get the forms filled in by the parent, and teachers or heads of school will be responsible to upload the details of the form on FEMIS. It is important that parents, teachers, and heads of schools statutorily declare that they are providing the correct information. There are, of course, another category of parents, of children who are below year 1 or not attending school. They can either apply through the online inflation mitigation application system or through the manual applications form available at legal aid offices and the nearest school. So that's available for them too also. So for example, if you're a parent and your children currently aren't going to school because they may be 1 month old, all the way up to say 5 years old or 5.5 years old, they're not in school, they're not in EC perhaps, you can go to legal aid office, pick up the forms from there, or indeed you can go to the nearest school and they'll also give you the form there. We've made arrangements through the Ministry of Education. For this category of applicants, completed manual forms are to be submitted to legal aid officers or to the nearest schools. So there, ladies and gentlemen, is the logistical layout in respect of how the payments will be made. Just to reiterate the main points again, those people who are government pensioners and are aftercare beneficiaries, they do not need to fill out any forms. They will receive a direct additional top-up of $180 to their accounts on 31st August this month. Then we have all social welfare recipients, which is the third category in this particular group. They will also receive direct additional top-up of $180 on the 5th of September, which is next month, 5th September, directly to their accounts where they get their welfare payments. And again, this category of people do not have to fill out any forms because we already have their details all verified. Then we have tertiary education students. All students currently on TELS and toppers do not have to fill out any forms. TSLS knows exactly who they are, and they will be paid the payment of $180 on the 5th of September again. Within tertiary students also, there's a group of students who currently are not on TELS, or not on toppers, but they're still at university or any of these institutions that I've highlighted, USP, FNU, University of Fiji, Corpus Christi, Fulton, Sangam, Pacific Flying School and Advanced Aviation Training, they can apply also online for that assistance, and they need to provide various information that is required on the forms, or they go to, best for them is to go to the digital platform where they'll get all the information and fill that out, and they'll be then paid the $180. Then the last category are those students up to year 13, from years 1 or EC all the way up to year 13. They can get the forms, again it's available online, they can get it from the schools. Within this category of students, there are about 91,000 students who currently get bus fare subsidy. So they just have to simply fill out one particular form that requires the M-Pesa or MyCash details, and the parents will be paid that money into that account. All the others will need to provide income verification forms, and again that's available through the schools. Those parents who have children who are not in school, in other words, they've just been born all the way up to just before EC, they can go to any legal aid office to get the forms, or they can go to the nearest school, fill out the forms, nominate the mobile phone account they want the monies paid into, and then they'll be paid out the monies. So all applications will close on 30th of September, which is in about a month and a half's time. We urge everybody to fill out the forms as quickly as possible so you can get paid the monies as quickly as possible, and the final payments will be paid out on 31 October 2022. So just to highlight, we'll be paying these monies on a fortnightly basis for all those students who applied for this under this scheme. First payment will be made on the 1st of September, second will be on the 15th of September, third on the 30th of September, fourth on the 14th of October, and fifth on the 31st of October. So ladies and gentlemen, that's the details regarding the inflation mitigation that we've got. Please feel free to ask any questions.
What's the total or around the number that the government is looking at assisting all the categories?
Well, I've highlighted the number of people. As we said, the social welfare recipients is about 90,000 currently social welfare recipients. There's about 6,000 or so in the Aftercare Fund. We have a similar number or thereabouts for the government pensioners. Tertiary students who are currently on TELS or toppers, we're expecting about 13,000 students who are currently in that group. Regarding those who may apply, who are currently not TELS or toppers, we'll see how many of them actually do apply for that. We don't expect tens of thousands of people, because most of the people who actually go to university are in fact covered through TELS and toppers. And then we have the students who are in schools. Currently there's already 91,000 students who receive bus fare subsidies, so we expect them. And we probably can safely add maybe another 100,000 who will qualify for families who earn less than $50,000. As you know, in the budget we've allocated $60 million for this particular allocation.
Now in the previous, during this year and last year, the $50, the $90, the distribution, some concerns were raised by people that they missed out, although they had applied and they thought that they did fit the criteria. What measures have been put in place to see that people do not get left behind if they do fall into those categories?
I think the number of people you're talking about who you said got left behind is very, very few. And again, there is very specific as to the reasons why they did not get it. A number of people who had complained they're already receiving some form of assistance, or they had perhaps double dipped. But as far as our feedback is concerned, where we have all the data available to us, it was a very positive response in respect of those people who were the target audience who actually received it. This, of course, is a lot more, of course, again, in a similar fashion, a lot more transparent because we are counting for all the students in schools. There's at the moment about 235,000 students who are currently enrolled in primary and secondary schools. Now, out of that, you can safely assume, it's a worst case scenario, that about, say, 35,000 students would be from families who earn more than $50,000 a year. So, if you calculate, say, okay, 200,000 would be below $50,000, so they would all apply. We've had some families who've said to us, well, even though we earn less than $50,000, we've got one child, we don't believe that we should apply for it, it's okay. So it depends on the individual families. But we know that many would actually apply for it. And again, the Aftercare Fund recipients, the government pensioners, the social welfare recipients, again, they are those who are already on the scheme, we know who they are, that's why they're being paid the money directly. Yeah.
Just in terms of form filling,
Yes.
I know these issues come later on. Can you just clarify if a family needs to fill in more than one form? Is there more than one child in the family?
Yes, you have to. Okay. Yes, you have to. That's how the forms are made, because we need to ensure that there is no duplication. We've also catered for the fact that sometimes because we talked to a lot of stakeholders, we have sometimes parents are separated too. We have to make sure that, for example, for the one child, you don't have the father applying and then the mother also applying, giving different accounts. This is why we ask for the birth registration number. All those details need to be filled out. There are a number of cases like that, where you have separated or even divorced parents. There may be some issue of double dipping, so that verification needs to take place. In the same way, for those families where currently the student does not receive the bus fare assistance, so they're earning more than the $16,000, we need to ensure that there's verification of the income. And this is why the school principals actually get involved in that too. And the other point I'd like to make is that we've tried to have as many outlets available as possible. So we are glad that the Ministry of Education is also helping us, that those schools or those applicants who currently do not have their children in school, like the example I've used, I met a lady in Welfare who's got 4 children below the age of 4.5. So they're obviously not in school, but she can go to the nearest school and fill out the forms and they'll facilitate. Or she can also even go online, etc. So those programs have been put in place. They can go to legal aid also. If they feel the school is far away, they can go to legal aid offices also. Okay, can we, before you go, I'm happy to take other questions, but can we, any questions on this? Any further questions?
For my Minister for Education is made some comments yesterday that the money for children should go for their needs, whatever they need for food, and not for parents to use it for grog or alcohol. I know this issue came up the last time too, where people were buying alcohol when the money came. So, as the Minister of Economy, what would you like to say on this? Because of course there would be some parents that they would want to buy grog and alcohol with the money.
Look, at the end of the day, we can't go and control what people buy. It's given for a specific reason. We know that some political opponents of the government made a big song and dance saying people buying alcohol. In fact, it's a very small amount of people who did. Of course, there's no doubt 1 or 2 people may have done that, bought all on alcohol. These are people who are applying who have children. That's the basis of the application. And there is a particular level of trust that government is putting onto the parents to help them meet those costs. Same way that it's not just about the parents, it's about social welfare recipients. This is applicable also for pensioners. There are many pensioners now in Fiji over the age of 65 who will get the 180 top-up. So I'm sure they're not going to go and spend it on grog. The majority of the people spend it on the reason for which it is given for. And if you look at any welfare payment or such payments made out, not just in Fiji but throughout the world, I mean, you can read numerous articles if you go to Australia about those people who, for example, used to receive what they call unemployment benefits. It used to be called, colloquially speaking, dole in Australia, how some people abused it. But the bulk of the people who receive it obviously put it to good use. The studies have shown that if you achieve 90% of the target audience, then you're actually doing quite well. We believe that in our case that we received over 95% of those the target audience who received the money and who put the money for the purpose for which it was given to them for. You can go, I'm sure, after this, you'll go and hunt somebody who has not put it to good use. But you do not go and hunt people who actually put it to good use. I mean, you're known for that, your organization, and so is Fiji Times. That's what your people do. But you do not actually focus on those people who actually put it to good use. So studies have shown at least if you get 90% of those people who are the target audience and they put it to good use, that means you're achieving your target. Sorry, no more questions on this? Okay, let's go.